The ocean and seashore comprise a vast range of habitats for marine organisms. This presentation looks at some of the marine habitats of Tasmanian waters. We can roughly categorise the ocean and seashore into different habitat types based on the distance from the coast and the depth of the water. A diverse range of marine life exists throughout the ocean and seashores. The Intertidal Zone is the area between the high and low tide mark. Animals and seaweed living in the intertidal zone spend some of their day underwater and some of the day exposed to air. These organisms have an array of adaptations, both physiological and behavioural, to cope with these changing conditions. When the tide goes out, a rock pool can offer a place for marine animals to stay underwater. However, the conditions in rock pools can be very dynamic. A rock pool is a much smaller body of water than the open ocean, and therefore the temperature can change relatively quickly. The salinity of the water can also change, increasing with evaporation or decreasing with precipitation, which adds fresh water into the rock pool. Oxygen levels may also drop until the incoming tide brings new salt water into the rock pool. The upper part of the intertidal zone is called the spray zone. Usually this area is dry, only receiving moisture from wave splash or rainfall. Molluscs, such as these periwinkles, often live here, feeding on algae and lichens on the rock. The subtidal zone is the area of the foreshore that is consistently underwater. Vertebrate animals, such as fish, sharks, skates and rays, can be found here. There are also many species of seaweed in the intertidal zone, providing habitat for the animals. Sandy beaches support a wide range of marine life, but often at a much smaller scale. The spaces between the grains of sand provide habitat for marine worms, small arthropods, and molluscs. These animals are often eaten by seabirds. Because the grains of sand are always moving, seaweed and seagrass don't usually grow on sandy seafloors. Coastal areas can be classified as high energy or low energy depending on the amount of wave action they receive. High energy seashores are usually found on areas of the coast exposed to strong winds and current that can generate large swells. Low energy seashores are areas that are protected from large swells and strong winds, such as estuaries and mudflats. Seagrass beds can form in low-energy, sheltered areas. Seagrass meadows are home to small juvenile fish and seahorses. Seagrass is a marine plant and produces oxygen through photosynthesis. Subtidal rocky reefs and kelp forests are important habitats in temperate waters. Subtidal reefs are found in deeper waters than intertidal rocky reefs and are therefore not exposed at low tide. Kelp species can grow on rocky reefs. Kelp can usually tolerate higher energy areas than seagrass, and they grow well in cool waters with high nutrients. They are also primary producers in marine ecosystems and produce oxygen through photosynthesis. Kelp forests form from numerous strands of giant kelp that can extend from the sea floor right to the surface. Kelp forests provide feeding areas and shelter for many other marine species. Moving further away from the seashore, we enter the Pelagic Zone. Pelagic means open ocean, in contrast to demersal, meaning near the sea floor. The upper layer of the ocean is called the Aphotic Zone because in this area there is enough sunlight for photosynthesis to occur. Life in the open ocean is not evenly distributed and can be abundant in some areas due to localised upwellings that create the right conditions for plankton to thrive. The presence of phytoplankton and zooplankton can support whole ocean food webs. Below about 200 metres in depth is called the Aphotic Zone and is often referred to as the twilight and midnight zones with increasing depth and therefore darkness. Animals living in the midnight zone have specific adaptations to cope with the darkness and cold and deal with the challenges of finding food and a mate. This is a deep-sea anglerfish. It uses a bioluminescent lure to attract food. This is another species of deep-water fish. This is a female, and here on the side, attached to the female's body, is the male. It is called a parasitic male because it is actually feeding off the female's blood supply. Finding a mate can be difficult in the vast darkness of the deep ocean, and when a female and male of this species meet, they join together permanently. Benthic organisms live on the sea floor. Some animals, like sea whips, soft corals and bryozoans, might look like plants, but they are animals. Because they don't use photosynthesis for obtaining food, they can live in dark depths, feeding off nutrients that fall down from above. Sponges are also benthic organisms. They are sessile, meaning they don't move but are stuck to the sea floor or rock. Benthic sponge gardens like this one, growing on deep water rocky reefs, provide habitat for small fish and other invertebrates. The ocean covers just over 70% of the Earth's surface and contains a wide range of habitats and biodiversity.